Hello there everyone and welcome to Sins of a Solar Empire 2, an RTS game all about blowing ships up and building counters to units. None of which matters today because we're going to be playing as the Advent Wrath, a bunch of crystal mommies who enjoy their crystal way too much, and now they want to purify the galaxy of heathens. Heathens like the Advent Reborn, in a star system filled with a ring of moving asteroids. Now this AI is set to impossible, meaning that it's going to cheat.
You have been cheated and lied to!
I knew it!
And so we're also going to cheat in our own way. How? We'll watch and find out. Doesn't that look beautiful? Oh yeah, and the planet too. This little ring here is not meant to keep the male organ harder for a longer time than it should be. Rather, this greater ship factory is where it all begins, with a capital ship called a Rapture Battlecruiser, named the Immaculata, and this is the equivalent to a hero unit. And if you've ever played any RTS before, then that means you're either old or a nerd. But also, you will be familiar with hero units, which can level up and have access to powerful abilities, and the important thing about it is that it can dominate, letting you wrest control of any ship that is not a capital ship, up to a limit of 2, 4, and then lastly 6. It also has a few noteworthy abilities too, like Vengeance, which reflects damage, Vertigo, which debuffs enemy ability cooldowns and weapon reloads, and also an insanely powerful ultimate ability, which pretty much makes your damage splash. But before we lose ourselves in the violence, let me take care of the economy first. I'm gonna max out my homeworld's commerce and mining, ensuring a healthy stream of credits, metal, and crystal, so we can keep pumping out those Rapture Battlecruisers. Let's also plop down a Temple of Harmony, because you know what they say, peace comes before war, and also a Shrine of Prophecy to help with our hostility research. With all that out of the way, we managed to scout our first planet, a primordial world, a dense and pretty valuable target, which is unfortunately too heavily defended for me, but it does have some juicy targets. But for now, I'm going to go on this unknown planet, which should be an asteroid, with a nice juicy derelict which can be captured for resources or some experience. Unfortunately, the enemy is composed of the most basic frigates, not an ideal target for domination. But the derelict is being guarded by some Javelin LRM cruisers, armed with a lot of missiles. Now those are much better targets. And this is where the magic begins. So let's move the Rapture Battlecruiser near the derelict so that it can capture it and also dominate these enemy cruisers. And as you can see, they've turned red, which means they're our allies now. Simple but effective. We don't really have any more juicy targets to dominate, so I'm going to save my second charge of domination. We managed to capture the derelict and clear the system, getting our Immaculata from level 1 to level 3. We go for Domination level 2, increasing our max concurrent cap to 4 and giving a slightly shorter cooldown. And I think I'll go with Vengeance for some retaliatory damage. We've got a singular ship left, running away like a coward. And for this specific faction of Advent, they have a special Temple of Pilgrimage, which lets you colonize a planet as soon as it is free of enemy combatants. And that is our first colony. And let's build a Temple of Pilgrimage here too, because Temple of Pilgrimages only work at adjacent gravity wells. And there is a juicy ice planet over there, a strategically important target, something I'll want later on. But first, let's conquer another asteroid. Now the fun thing about this game is that planets are not static. Well, some of them are not static. So in this map, the asteroids rotate around after a set amount of time. So let's strip mine that asteroid before it goes away. And in the meantime, let's develop our first colony and send the Immaculata to the moving asteroid. And meanwhile, I'm going to survey my home planet for some resources. Now what is surveying, you ask? Well, you see, certain things in this game require certain types of resources, beyond the standard resources of credits, metal, and crystal. And these are your exotics, which can be acquired early on by surveying your planets, and later on by dedicated factories. And Raptures are going to need Kalanide and Anvar. While I was busy yapping, the Immaculata managed another +1 to our empire. Next, I'm going to send it here on the other asteroid. Soon the asteroid is captured, and our Immaculata is on its way to the primordial planet. And after surveying our home system, we now have enough exotics for our next Rapture. But we're lacking crystal. So while we wait, let's start our battle at the primordial planet. I did use 2 of my charges on some Cobalt Light frigates, and I want to replace those as soon as possible. So I'm going to kamikaze them to the front lines, and that will free us some slots to be able to mind control these Javelin LRM cruisers. Mind control you, mind control you. Our second Rapture is ready. We also send him over here so that he can start dominating. But I don't think it'll arrive in time to mind control anything.
Another planet joins the Unity.
Yep, we missed it. But that's okay, a lot of targets to mind control. Let's develop this planet too, and off to our next planet to conquer.
3, 2, 1. We're going on a trip in our favorite rocket ship.
The next planet has some pretty basic defenders. Nothing valuable to mind control. But you know what? Mind control away. And as we were raining down missiles, our second Rapture, the Merciless, has attained the next level. The gravity well is also clear, and now we wait for the Arctic Embrace research to allow us to colonize. And the planet is ours. And as I said before, this ice planet is very important for us strategically, because serving it will produce kalinide, one of the things we need for raptures. And since it is an ice planet, it is rich in crystals. You know, those crystals that the crystal mommies and daddies like to play with. Now our next planet is a volcanic planet. Not really the most ideal planet, but a whole is a whole, a planet is a planet. And this planet happens to be guarded by a lot of those missile boats, which are always a juicy target. The battle rages on and missiles fly. Our Immaculata reaches level 4, and the 4th skill point will be used for vengeance. We've got ourselves a decently looking fleet composed mostly of missile boats. Oh, and there's a derelict there too. I'm gonna funnel the experience it gives to the Immaculata so that it can reach level 5, eventually. Well, that's progress. Now our empire is getting pretty large. Not sure if I should capture this asteroid, which should open up the areas closer to the core, but I think this asteroid is better, giving us access to that rich cluster of the galaxy. And upon arriving, I see a bunch of juicy units, plus a derelict. Now these are some Harka heavy cruisers. They do less DPS overall than a Javelis, but they are much tankier. And they talk in this Eastern European accent.
Yes, I don't have all day.
And I would like not to lose any of my precious raptures, so I'm gonna take those Herkas to tank for me. But my raptors are already capped, so I'm going to get rid of a few Javelis LRM cruisers
Sacrifice begun.
and capture ourselves some Herkas. And
Another planet joins the Unity.
that never gets old. Time to produce our 3rd rapture and to the next target. And we've explored a fair amount of the galaxy but have found zero trace of our enemy. I think it's actually better for me to go over here, because I'm going to need that kalinide from the ice worlds. Our 3rd rapture is ready, and due to advances in technology, it starts at level 2, which means more domination. Now I think it's time to spread our culture with this nice temple of communion. Now what is culture, you ask? Well, every star system starts as neutral, but once you build these buildings and some other buildings too, they will spread your culture. And spreading your culture has many benefits, boosting your economy and your military depending on your race. Let's speed the game up a little bit and watch as the Catholic Church, the Advent, spread their religious beliefs all over the galaxy like wildfire. All for the greater good, of course. Purely for very good reasons, non-violent ones. No imperialism and genocide here. Another planet under our control, and our exotic supplies are looking good. But you can never have enough kalinide, so it's time to peacefully incorporate this world. Another planet. I don't really know which I should go first, but oh hey look, this one's got kalinide, Anvar, and a lot of XP as derelict loot. It's an ocean planet too, which is very rich. And something I just realized is I forgot to capture the derelict from the last planet. And it has cornium too, one of the more expensive and exotics, required to produce a titan. Oh, and it looks like we've made contact with the enemy, owned by the Cult of Cerebri. Thankfully, they're boxed in by a minor faction called the Aluxian Resurgence. They should keep them busy for now. Alright, we've arrived at the ocean planet, and things are gonna start heating up. And I definitely don't want to lose my capital ships, so I should probably get them some psykinetic plating, boosting their armor by a large amount. Like, take a look at my Immaculata. It has an armor strength of 80, and the psykinetic plating will give it 20 more. And what is that purple number, you ask? That is another special unity mechanic called Psi Power. Ships have a Psi Power statistic, which scales some of their abilities. Now this Psi Power comes from either ship components or from research. And in my limited experience of playing the game, a ship with full Psi Power is not only tanky but also really deadly. We capture the ocean world, and I leave my Immaculata to capture the derelict. Send my fleet off to the nearby gas giant, and I realize I'm supposed to be capturing a derelict. I always keep forgetting. Did I even capture the derelict with cornium? Nope. Well, I guess I'll have to get it after this one. But first let's get our fleet up. And I'll put the Immaculata to capture this one. So far, everything is looking good. My capital ships are leveling up, my mind-controlled fleet is growing, my empire is growing, and my research is on track. So long as I don't meet the enemy yet. Wait a minute, why is there a hint of lavender there? That's the Aluxian Resurgence. Maybe they're just scouting. Nope, they sent their entire fleet. Wait a minute, my Immaculata is there. Holy, no. Wait. Fall back. Defend my Immaculata. That's my highest level capital ship. I can't lose it, it's about to get malice. Wait, should I just greed? I'm about to capture the derelict, but that's a whole ass fleet. Okay, I'll stick, I believe. Wait, they're bombing my planet too. My beach vacation. Oh yeah, my Immaculata is dying too. Our fleet is still quite a bit away. Okay, let's pull back. I can't lose my best capital ship to a minor faction. And it dinged level 6 too. Okay, gotta pull back. And my fleet's arrived. Oh, you are so dead now. But they really want to destroy my Immaculata. Okay, pull back Immaculata. Go back. Go to the gas giant. Let the rest of the fleet handle it. And they seem to be handling it well, actually. They seem to have a lot of missiles and a lot of carriers. But the Rapture has a lot of point defense. And they can't even shoot out their missiles at me. Our PD just overwhelms them. Alright, clean up the rest of them. And it looks like we've unlocked another Advent special. So each race has a unique ability, and for the Advent, it takes in the form of some global use abilities, like being a peeping Tom, and all it costs is some focus, which has a maximum capacity and a regeneration rate, scaling with Empire technology and planet items. Now Clairvoyance here is not the most useful one. I don't think I've even ever used this, just once. Sanctify, which has a niche use case, and my favorite, Proselytize, which helps you spread around your culture. Conversion, which causes riots and eventually a planet to turn to your side, and my personal favorite, Recall, which teleports your entire fleet back to the home planet and restores their health, shields, and armor, starting at 33% and eventually scaling to 100%. Now I don't have to worry about my capital being sniped. Well, I still do, but I can just recall my entire fleet. So many things to do with this one. And back to the battle, I think I'm going to mind control these carriers. Carriers are pretty bad. Missile ships are 100% better. But do I really have the luxury of choosing? Alright, all my capital ships are kinda full. Okay, let's ignore these carriers. Tear them apart. My Immaculata is safe. I managed to repel an attack. Not from the main impossible AI, but still. Now we're going to need to reinforce our ocean planet, because 100% it's going to keep getting attacked by the enemy. So let's plop down one of those star bases here, a mobile fortress that will repel all of but the strongest attack. And meanwhile, my fleet will be capturing this planet. You know what, instead of making war with the Eluxian Resurgence, maybe we should just recognize their legitimacy as a nation-state, signing a temporary ceasefire. What a radical idea. I think I'd rather get these Eluxian military observers, which give 20% reduced cooldowns. Well, peace will come later. And once again, Desecrators assault one of our worlds. And I have to pull back my fleet. Maybe I should have signed that peace treaty. But more and more planets join our burgeoning empire. And we've accumulated the resources and the tech necessary to build the most powerful ship available, a Titan. And our Titan is called the Coronata Titan. Now I said this game was going to be all about mind controlling enemies. And this Titan is all about mind controlling enemies still. It is a very powerful ship, and while its abilities lean more on the support side of things, like this very powerful debuff, it also has access to a very powerful but RNG AoE mind control. And unlike the Rapture, it has no cap and no limits. However, the base chance is very low, and despite the fact that there is a percent beside it, it does not actually scale with psi power. And also a favorite ability, Unity Mass. But instead of talking about it, I'm going to show you exactly what it does.
Objective complete.
I could only wish it was that cool. Instead, we get this. Still pretty cool, but nothing really beats an ion cannon. And lastly, it has an ult that lets you capture a planet automatically. Not the best, but it could be worse. Now let's pack it to the brim with every single upgrade we can, focusing on offense and psi power. And while we wait for our Titan, we even managed to secure the left flank of our homeworld. And so our homeworld is no longer in any danger. And now it's time to remaneuver our fleet into an invasion of the AI enemy. Now there is a conveniently located minor faction right beside this area, which means I'm going to capture the areas below me before we push eastwards towards the enemy. Yes, perfect. And this pisses off the AI, so they have one of the minor factions attack one of my asteroid bases. Not really significant anymore, because these raiders cannot move outside of that asteroid belt, and I can shoulder the loss of one asteroid. But with that distraction, I didn't notice that they were already near my borders, right beside my recently conquered ice planet, which I'm sure they're going to attack. Let's recall the fleet and see what happens. Our real first taste of combat. They arrive at my ice planet, lightly defended, so let's get ourselves some help. I'm going to spawn in a minor faction protection fleet here. And where did they? Oh, there they are. Them plus the starbase should keep the fleet at bay until my own fleet arrives. Our defense force is not doing too well, but it's holding them off. And here comes my first ships, just as the armor of our starbase goes down. Perfect timing. Okay, where's the rest of my fleet? Bro, they're not even... Okay, there they are. This starbase is pretty dead. I'm going to move this protection fleet forward, maybe block some shots, try to save the starbase. And it works. Look at those blue missiles targeting random things. Don't you love disposable mercenaries? And as our fleet arrives, I'm going to use Malice, the Rapture Battlecruiser ult, which makes damage propagate. Then we focus on the capital ship, which will hopefully kill off the smaller enemies as it dies. Oh, what was that? I don't know what that large blue explosion was, but everything's turning to chaos. Hopefully my malice disposes of them. There we go. Perfect. I love this capital ship. Wait, what? There's a second one. Honestly, I don't know how that happened, but I'm not complaining. And there also goes our Coronata beam. The enemy is pulling back, but I don't think any of them will survive. Well, maybe a few capital ships. Okay, I was wrong. Maybe most of them will escape. But we've beaten them back and it's time to reinforce my fleet with a shit ton more Rapture Battlecruisers. And just from that battle, most of my Raptures have leveled up. None of them reach level 6 though, so I'm still limited to 1 Malice, which means my next battle will be a lot more dangerous. Unless of course one of them reaches level 6 mid-battle. Not that too far off. Let me just micromanage every single ship and ready to take the battle to the enemy this time. Now, if you were a human player, you would maneuver your ships or your long-range ships away from the Coronata because my suppression aura is working against them. But this is a stupid dumb AI, and so its entire fleet is near my Coronata, greatly reducing their damage. And soon their ships get torn apart. And not just any ships, they're capital ships too. These are very precious. They try to retreat, but for nothing. We're gonna hunt them all down and kill them. And with this last ship, which is about to die, we have eliminated their entire capital ship fleet. Now we have to rip apart this starbase and then we can finally bomb the planet. And I know the enemy is riled up because they built their own Titan. The enemy starbase falls, leaving their civilian infrastructure undefended, and finally, leaving the planet open for bombardment, cleansing the planet of heathens. And of course, the cheating AI with unlimited resources rebuilds their entire fleet. So let's break it down. And in the meantime, let me defend this planet that's being harassed by raiders. And when I came back, they were gone. I wonder where their Titan is. I really want to see some Titan on Titan action. Let's break down the starbase and start bombing. And while we're busy doing all this, we managed to discover a ship artifact, granting an insane amount of defensive bonuses. Not that I really need it, but it's better than nothing. And I'm going to give it to my Coronata, and behold my extremely durable Titan. My armor points are now close to 4,000, and my armor strength is 300 plus, which means my armor is now more durable than a starbase. And yeah, let's power up this laser. And you know what would be cool? If we could use this laser on the planet. In fact, why can't I laser the planet anyway? I mean, with the amount of bombs I've dropped on it, what's a little laser, right? But anyway, another planet to my empire, and on to the next one. And while I was busy managing my empire's economy, I didn't really notice the dangerous situation I was in. It looks like I jumped right on top of the enemy, and they brought their Titan with them too, and they are numerically superior to me. I just might lose this battle. Okay, I gotta play this right. Let me apply malice to this group. Thankfully, my Coronata is in the middle of all of this, and it's taking in most of those missiles. It's still looking quite healthy. Okay, I have malice applied on the enemies. Let's find a suitable capital ship target. No, that's a Domina. God, it's hard to find targets. Alright, time for a little ion cannon. So hard to click on targets. Alright, let's just use it on this one. Haha, it's always amazing to watch. And it looks like we're winning too. The enemy looks a bit thinned out. One of my capital ships though is pretty close to dying. I will probably lose it, but I'll consider it an acceptable loss. Yes, more mind control. Another malice should turn the tides. Over in this group. Always satisfying to see them pop. The tides have turned, and I think now it's best I focus on the Titan. Because if this Titan ever reaches level 6, I will be in quite some trouble. It tries to run away, but come on, we gotta kill it. Oh, and did it stop? What was that? The AI just short-circuited. It's about to die though. There's just no shot that it manages to leave. Come on, come on. Hell yeah, Titan down. Well, one enemy fleet and one Titan down, and all I lost was a single Rapture. I'd call that a good trade. What followed was a long back and forth between me and the AI, where any recently conquered planets were quickly lost. And so I come to a decision. It's time to assault their homeworld, and finally end this war with a decisive victory. We purify their core worlds and rip them clean, until the homeworld is one jump away. There it is. About to be ripped apart by my fleet. Our armies are matched, but I have one advantage they don't. The power of mind control, facilitated by a lot of Rapture Battlecruisers. And it looks like they left their Titan on home defense. Look at these two gargantuan ships. But the enemy Titan does not have this ability, the ion cannon. which is not at all that impressive given everything that's happening around us. It's just a blur of blue and purple, like in a cyberpunk dystopia. I mean, look at this, it's pure chaos. My Coronata just autocast a subjugation and I saw 0 converted ships, which is a bit anticlimactic. And their Eradica Titan is nothing compared to the full force of the true Unity. And the enemy is done. Just one more thing to destroy, and their capital is now open for bombardment. And that will secure us our victory. What a good victory. And now I just have to wonder, will this work against 7 impossible AIs? Well, we'll find out eventually. And once again, don't forget to drop a like on this video and subscribe for more gaming content. I will see you next week and thank you all for watching.